my goal is by the end of today's class, you should be able to talk about indefinite numbers in Hindi. We have the many ways to say it, but the most common ones are using lagbhag. Repeat after me the word lagbhag, which talks about approximately, right? We also use a word called kareeb, okay, kareeb, and the third one is koi. So I'm going to stop the sharing, and I'm going to write it down for you so you can follow along with me. So the first one I mentioned was lagbhag. Okay. The second one we have is kareeb. Kareeb. Okay. Kareeb has two different meanings. One is approximation. It also means close. Like if you are close to someone, you will also use like wo mere kareeb hai, right? And the third one I mentioned is koi. Okay, koi. What do you think is the differences when all of them are being used? And Hindi speakers, when you talk to them, they use these three words interchangeably. If you want to be a bit more formal, okay, you will talk about kareeb. Okay, imagine if you want to write a news article, or if you're talking about weather reporting, you will end up using kareeb. Okay, it's a little bit of a semi-formal when you're talking about lagbhag, or you want to have casual conversation. Okay, you will use lagbhag. Okay, when you want to be a bit vague, when you don't want to give any precise information, if you want to say like when you talk about like a party, how many people came, right? If you want to be completely vague without giving any, when the focus is not being precise, okay, you can say koi 10 log aaye the, okay, about 10 people came. It's lagbhag, it means approximately, okay, approximately for lagbhag, and you use it when you want to be a neutral sounding. Okay, you want to be neutral, the tone will be neutral there when you want to use lagbhag. Lagbhag 10 log aaye, okay, about 10 people came. Okay, when you want to use kareeb, as most of you mentioned, it's around. Okay, around. You use it when you want to be slightly more formal, when you talk about the reports or news or political speeches, or even when you are shopping, right? Kareeb 5 kilo chawal chahiye. Okay, around 5 kilograms of or pounds of something is needed. Koi is about or some. Okay, you use it when it's not important to talk about the exact number. Okay, when you want to really talk about, to casually mention it about 20 cars were there, or about 20 people came. Okay, the distinction will become more clear as we do more examples. So what I'll do is I'm going to ask some of you to repeat after me or read it out, and then try to make sense of it, why they have been written differently. So, and lagbhag 100 rupaye, right? I mean, lagbhag 100 rupaye, tel, let's say you want to give the oil price, okay? 1 liter lagbhag 100 rupaye ka aayega, right? I mean, so you want to give some approximation there. Okay, wonderful. You want to make small sentences using these phrases, करीब 2 किलो or करीब 2 किलोमीटर और करीब 40 डिग्री. Okay, आज का तापमान, let's say you want to talk about the temperature. So आज का तापमान और आज का temperature लगभग 40 डिग्री है. Very good, right? Grocery shop और ये दुकान यहाँ से लगभग और यहाँ से करीब 2 किलोमीटर दूर है. Okay. As I said, Hindi speakers often use them interchangeably, right? And the difference, you just have to, it will be hard for some time to kind of pinpoint, but it's, as I said in the previous one, let me show you. When you want to talk about, neutral, when you want to be neutral, you will end up using lagbhag. When you want to be slightly more formal, you'll end up using kareeb. Okay? And when the use of the exact number is not important, or you want it to come across casually, then you will end up the koi. Okay, let's do the last one. I asked you to say there were about 20 seats empty in the bus. Yeah, you can say empty थी और खाली थी. Okay, so I'm going to write it down. So you can say बस में कोई 15 सीट्स खाली एम्प्टी थी. ओके, खाली थी, बस में कोई 15 सीट्स खाली थी. नाउ यू वांट टू से अबाउट 20 पीपल केम टू द पार्टी. हाउ विल यू से दैट? वेरी गुड. पार्टी में कोई 20 लोग आए. ओके, पार्टी में कोई 20 लोग आए. Very good. So we'll get going now. We'll do a short quiz and I want all of you, I'll give you some time, all of you to read it out. There is no right or wrong. You can use either of all of them options interchangeably. But at least I want to think about before you use, any of them, whether you want to be sort of vague about the approximation, whether you want to be more formal or less formal about it, and then you can, do it. So I wrote it down. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes, all of you, and then we'll regroup to discuss them. Okay, beautiful. So she chose less formal for 12 hours. So लगभग 12 घंटे. 12 is 12 है. So she said मैं वहाँ लगभग 12 घंटे में पहुँचूंगी. I will reach there in approximately 12 hours. Beautiful. And then she said around 3 kilogram. For the weight, she wanted to be a slightly more precise, more formal. So she said, इस चीज का वजन is weight. So she can say इस चीज का weight और इस चीज का वजन करीब और 3 किलोग्राम के करीब है. 3 is 3, किलोग्राम is kilograms के करीब है. For people, more or less you will end up using koi because it's hard for people to just count, so they go with approximation. So she said इस पार्टी में और इस फंक्शन में कोई 50 is 50, कोई 50 मेहमान आए थे. Any question so far? So you can say करीब 12 घंटे and it's not like it's going to be wrong, right? This is just like Hindi speakers will often use them interchangeably. So as long as you know 3 of them, you are fine. So don't get fixated on that I have to use only kareeb here or lagbhag here, right? That part is secondary. So मुझे कोई 75 और 75 is, what's the Hindi word for 75? It's a little bit tricky. So 70 is 70. 70 is 70. 75 is, so read it like pichathar. Okay, pichathar. Okay, pichathar. So he used koi 75 रुपए चाहिए. So if you want to be slightly more, so for temperature and everything you can use करीब. तापमान करीब 25 डिग्री है. आज का तापमान करीब 25 डिग्री है. Today's temperature is about 25 degree Celsius or Fahrenheit, whatever unit is being used. Okay. आज सैन फ्रांसिस्को का टेम्परेचर कैसा है और क्या है? सैन फ्रांसिस्को का टेम्परेचर करीब 75 डिग्री Fahrenheit है. और the other way you were saying is also correct. सैन फ्रांसिस्को का टेम्परेचर 75 Fahrenheit के करीब है. Either way is fine. So all of you should be able to talk about temperature within your city. Yeah. Right. We'll do about 35 people and around 6 seats. Right. You can use, for people generally you can use koi also. Right. Even though I said it's interchangeable, but you can say koi and then 35. So I'm going to 35. So करीब कोई 35 लोग आएंगे. Okay, 35. So it's basically it's basically 35. Okay, कोई 35 लोग आएंगे. और you can also say कोई 7 seats खाली थी. There were about 7 seats empty. Yeah, very basic sentences that you can make using lagbhag, kareeb and koi, right? But the subtle difference I mentioned was koi is if you want to be vague. Koi 50 log the, okay? When you want to be vague. When you want to be less formal or very casual, which is used on a day-to-day basis, lagbhag is used a lot in a casual conversation. Lagbhag. Okay, and Kareeb is when you are reading the newspaper or writing a news report, you will see slightly more formal way, which is Kareeb. So let's say you want to say ये celebration or ये party, which is this party 12 घंटे 12 hours पहले is ago, शुरू it started basically, शुरू हुई. Okay, ये party, what will you use? Yeah, so I can use both of them, lagbhag as well as kareeb. Okay, as I said, this is if you want to be slightly more formal, you can use this one. If you want to be, a little bit more conversational, you can use lagbhag. Both of them you can use them, lagbhag as well as kareeb. Now, having gone through the basic use cases, we'll do the case 2, where you want to say something like, not like about, you want to say 3 or so. So when you want to say like 4 or so hours ago, okay, 4 or so hours ago. So whenever you have this thing called or so, okay, how do you sort of say them in Hindi? Okay, so you already know what is 4 in Hindi? Chaar, very good. Okay, whenever you have a notion of or so, what you do is you put ek next to the cardinal number. So 4 is char, you just put ek. Okay, Chaar-ek घंटे पहले. Okay, so if you want to say the train arrived 4 or so hours ago, ट्रेन 4-1 घंटे पहले पहुंची और ट्रेन 4-1 घंटे पहले आई. योर ऑब्वियस क्वेश्चन वुड बी, कैन आई से लगभग और करीब? डू आई हैव टू यूज 4-1 घंटे पहले? सो यू कैन एब्सोल्युटली यूज करीब और लगभग एज वेल. Okay, this is just different way of saying it. So it's not necessarily that you must use it or this is the way to use it, but Hindi speakers on a conversational level, they use this phrase quite a lot. Okay, so as you're conversing with people, you should know about like when there is a number or cardinal number followed by ek, that means they are talking about approximation, or they're trying to give indefinite number around that, right? Let's see some more examples, and if you hopefully doing the examples will make sense. Yeah, Chaar-ek panne. Next one. Beautiful. Chaar-ek घंटे. Yeah, very good, right? So casually you want to, at the end of the class, Narasiji, you want to say, Ashuji, I have 2 or so questions. How will you say that in Hindi? Beautiful, right? Ashuji, मेरे 2 एक सवाल है. Okay, and I'll say, yeah, sure. Why don't we discuss them? You want to say that I've been to India 5 times or so. Just I'm making it up. Right? मैं 5-1 बार इंडिया गई थी और गई हूँ. Okay, मैं 5-1 बार इंडिया गई हूँ. Okay, so there it's very common. Okay, any questions so far? So just the trick here is it's spoken and in a very casual manner and used in the informal settings. Right. So I'm gonna go show some more examples on that one, so you can at least strengthen this one before we do the. Okay. So again, I have some examples written down. These are very easier one for you to practice. So why don't you make of your choice 4 or so hours? Beautiful. Okay. मैं 4-1 घंटे हिंदी पढ़ती हूँ. Beautiful. Wonderful. Right. So we'll go to the case number 3, which is basically when you're talking about range. Okay. Just to kind of recap, we've done 2 cases. In the case 1, where we talk about approximation, where we use the word as it is, lagbhag, kareeb and koi. Okay, lagbhag, remember, it's more conversational, less formal, but it's totally okay to use more commonly. Kareeb when you want to be more formal, slightly more precise, and koi is when you want to be vague. Then the case number 2, where we take the cardinal number and we put next to it ek. The third one, it's also very common when you want to give a range. Okay, when you want to say 8 to 10 days, Hindi speakers will just put 8-10 din, which is same as 8 to 10 days. When you want to say 50 60 people or 50 to 60 people, you can say 50-60 log. Okay, when you want to provide a range, because when you're a group of people, you are not really counting and you want to give, you can still say lagbhag 50 log aaye the, but this is another way of saying it, 50-60 log. When you, in your mind, you want to be, you don't want to just give lagbhag or kareeb, you want to give like it's between these. Yeah, 3-4 घंटे. Okay, 3-4 घंटे से इंतजार कर रहा हूँ और 3-4 घंटे से वेट कर रहा हूँ. Okay, 20-25 हजार, 1000 is हजार, so 20 is 20, 25 is 25, 20-25 हजार रुपए. Okay, like let's say somebody's talking and they're talking about like what will happen with 20-25,000 rupees or dollars. They will not say करीब 25,000 रुपए से मेरा क्या होगा. Okay, or लगभग 25,000 से मेरा क्या होगा, like what will happen to me with this. They will end up saying 20-25 हजार से क्या होता है, right? Like what will this, it's not worth a lot, basically. That's how so they'll end up giving the range there. Okay, same thing, 4 to 5 is like becomes 4-5 kilo. Okay, 10 to 12% is 10-12 प्रतिशत. Okay, प्रतिशत. Any questions on this one? Alright, so we'll do some more sort of like this quiz and then we'll jump to the reading comprehension. Right, so you can say 15-20 students or 15-20 विद्यार्थी. Very good, 7-8 kilometer. Okay, okay, very good. Or I will get ready. Let's change it. I will get ready in 10-15 minutes. Very good. मैं 10 मिनट में तैयार होके आती हूँ और I'm तैयार होंगी. Beautiful. Now what I have is I know we have slightly about a time, but I do want to read this comprehension. Very good. कार्यक्रम. It's called program. Such is really, in this case, it's not like the beach as in like the beach. It's like in between, like in the middle. चले गए, they left. Okay. गायक is singer. So कुल मिलाकर in total only 8 to 10 singers ही रह गए. There were only 8 to 10 singers left. Okay, so they were talking about an event, naturally, where they're talking about how many people came. I heard this and this many number of people came, but then one person is saying, but a lot of them left in between, and then only 8 to 10 singers were sort of left. Amazing. Okay, so if you notice it in this paragraph, you have all three cases. You have lagbhag, you have kareeb, and you have koi. Okay, you also have 8-10. Okay, the only thing that you don't have is the ek one, the case number 2, which is like 7-1 घंटे बाद मैं India गया or something along those lines. So only that one is not used, but rest of the cases are there. I'm going to stop the broadcast and I'll take any final questions and introduction of the new people who joined today.